Welcome to Clue 5 of our Winter Mystery 2022 quilt. Make sure you consult your fabric key so you cut from the correct fabrics. Here is the pattern for clue number 5. You can push pause and take notes. You can take a screenshot and print it from your phone. Or you can join our group called the Quilted Forest Friends on Facebook, and then you'll have access to PDF files you can print at home. This clue uses the background and color number 1. From color number 1, you need to cut 2 strips that are 7 1/4 inches by the width of the fabric. From those 2 strips, you will cut 8 squares that will measure 7 1/4 inches by 7 1/4 inches. I have 2 layers of fabric here, so I am cutting through 4 layers of fabric at the same time. You need to bisect each of these squares twice, corner to corner, to get 32 triangles. I leave my fabric stacked when I'm making these cuts from corner to corner. If I had to do these all separately, it would take a lot more time. So save yourself some time and cut through the layers. From the background fabric, you need to cut 2 strips that are 7 1/4 inches by the width of fabric. From those 2 strips, you need to cut 8 squares that are 7 1/4 inches by 7 1/4 inches. And just like the color 1 fabric, you will bisect each of those squares twice, corner to corner, to get 32 triangles. I'm going to organize my fabric before I start piecing, so I'm going to match up a background triangle to a color 1 triangle and get them all stacked up and ready to sew. I like to do this in some places because it prevents me from having to use my seam ripper, because I will occasionally pick up 2 pieces of one fabric and then sew it to 1 piece of another, and then I am missing a piece at the end, so this helps with that. Make sure you're piecing with 1/4 inch seam allowances. You're going to sew along one of the short sides of the triangle units, not the long side, but the short sides. And you want to make sure that as you send them through the machine, you always send each of the sets of 2 through the same way. You want them all to look identical. You can have the dark piece on top or the light piece on top. It doesn't matter. They just all need to look the same. You are sewing on a biased edge, so you want to make sure you're handling the pieces delicately. Do not stretch the fabric as you are sewing. Let the machine guide the fabric through without pulling on it or pushing on it. If you have one, you can use your Blade Saver thread cutter to cut the pieces apart and help this process go a little faster. Triangles have bias edges, so you need to press carefully. For this step, we are going to press towards the dark fabric. Now it's time to head back to the sewing machine and get these blocks made. Because you pressed all of the triangles to the dark side, when you put these pieces together, the center seam there should nest together, and just use a 1/4 inch seam and start sewing. Now it's back to the ironing board to press to one side. I like to press to one side on these because then I can use my block lock ruler to help me square up the squares. Now it's time to trim for accuracy and get all those little dog ears off the corners. These blocks should measure 6.5 inches by 6.5 inches. You will have 16 of them. The channel on the back side of the block lock ruler will fit right across the top of that seam you just made, and you can use it to square up these squares. You won't be cutting much off, just the dog ears and maybe a little bit of fabric here and there. And now my blocks are done. I'm going to tuck them with the pattern into a plastic bag and put them with the other 4 clues and put them in a safe place for next time. If you want to stay up to date on the mystery quilt, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Hit the like button, make a comment, and share with your quilting friends. Thanks for watching and happy quilting. We'll see you in 2 weeks for the last clue.